And it's worth mentioning, you used an acronym, but this is actually a real-time animation that although we can't see what's going on with the observatory, this is actually showing you what the configuration is in at the moment.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point. I know folks have been interested in, why don't we have cameras? Nobody would love to see Webb doing its thing right now than us. So it's, one of the things we really did want to put cameras on. A lot. You can tell over its deployment, it's going through multiple different configurations. So we just didn't need one camera. We would need multiple cameras.
Now this is just sampling from a video I'm watching, or did watch, from UAP, another guy I like. But these people here are filling people's heads with nonsense, and now they have to explain why they don't have cameras and why they're always showing their fake CGI animation. And you see how she's smiling? She's a scumbag, traitor to humanity, and so is he. And he's rattling off all the excuses about why they don't have cameras. We went to the moon 6 times 50 years ago, and they tell us there's thousands of satellites out in orbit of a big giant ball spinning Earth. Lagrange 1, there's a satellite 1,000,000 miles away from Earth. Lagrange 2, another 1,000,000 miles away from Earth. And all these satellites whizzing around that they'd show us in movies. Reroute a satellite. Program a satellite. Let's zoom in on his license plate and let's look at what he's looking at on his phone with the satellite. All this nonsense they programmed your head with. Okay? That James Webb telescope they put out there, there's nothing they put out there, okay? They blast off a rocket that never goes straight up, and they make up excuses called escape velocity, so they don't have to go straight up. They go up, they do a parabolic arc and go back down into the ocean. They're not going up, because if they go up, they won't go up no more, because there's a firmament barrier up there. How else do you think all the gas and oxygen of the Earth stay on the Earth? We can't have pressure without a contained environment. Gas and oxygen cannot stay fixed anywhere unless in a container. It blows away or disperses at high velocity. Okay? These people are saying these things because of people like me, UAP, RV Truth, Nathan Oakley, and thousands of other flat earth people who are challenging these liars. These people are liars. Okay? Don't make a comment on my video unless it's about the video. And I will say, I wish someone would tell me why gas and oxygen always fill the available volume of the puny vacuum chambers we make at sea level on the ground, where they happen to say, and tell everyone who will listen, that gravity has more influence. Then they say gravity decreases with altitude, and you weigh less on a mountain, only 3 or 4 miles off the surface of the Earth on the ground or at sea level. 4 miles up you weigh less, and another 245 miles up where outer space finally begins, where the thermosphere and exosphere are left behind, because the Kármán line, they'll tell us, oh, well, that's only 60 miles up. That's where outer space starts. But then they got the thermosphere and exosphere right there. Gas and it's just so stupid and illogical. But again, they say gravity decreases. It would be not as strong as they say it would be on the Earth. And on the Earth, we see gas and oxygen always fill the available volumes that we make. So why wouldn't gas and oxygen way up there not do what we see it do on the Earth, where they say gravity's weaker? Don't you understand that gas and oxygen only do one thing? In the presence or vicinity of a vacuum, they fill it. And we're not just talking about any vacuum here. We're talking about an infinite vacuum universe 36 billion light years wide and across. Don't you understand how vast that is? How can any shape Earth covered in gas and oxygen be directly next to, surrounded by, and within an infinite vacuum universe, and the gas and oxygen don't do what we see it do on the Earth, where gravity is supposed to be stronger? Don't tell me gravity's holding down and containing 5 layers of atmosphere and all the other gas and oxygen on the Earth, water vapor clouds, and your precious pressure gradient underneath the 5 atmospheres of the Earth? How does it get up there? Gravity, what does it, turn off so the gas and oxygen can disperse up there, and then gravity turns back on and pulls it down? That would be like running and walking at the same time. It can't be done. Gas and oxygen always fill the available volume of the vacuums we make at sea level, where they tell us gravity is stronger. And gas and oxygen would do the same thing, where gravity is weaker, at the Kármán line and beyond the Kármán line, through the thermosphere and exosphere. How can gas and oxygen of the thermosphere and exosphere contain itself and be within and mixed in with an infinite vacuum universe, even if it was only 1 trillion miles wide? 1 trillion seconds would take over 30,000 years to go by. Now imagine 1 trillion miles. 1 light year, they say, is almost 6 trillion miles. And then you got 36 billion light years. You could never understand and comprehend how far that would be. If 1 trillion seconds take over 30,000 years to go by, starting right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, it would take 30,000 years for you to count to 1 trillion. You'd be dead, your kids would be dead, their kids would be dead, and so many generations would be dead trying to count to 1 trillion per a second. And they're telling us 1 light year is almost 6 trillion miles. And 36 billion light years. So that's 36 billion sets of 6 trillion miles. And you think the gas and oxygen that smothers the Earth, covers the Earth like Velcro, is going to do or exhibit some other behavior that is opposite to what we see it do on the Earth? Gas and oxygen cannot resist even the puny vacuum chambers we make on the Earth, where they say gravity is stronger. But for some reason, many reasons, or just to get out of jail card free, just say gravity and everything's explained. It doesn't do it. It just stays in place, contains itself, and does not go in or get sucked by an infinite vacuum. I mean, hell, they even show you in space movies that when the spaceship gets a hole, everything gets sucked out. That's because there's a vacuum outside of the ship. Okay? And gas and oxygen always fill the available volume of the vacuum chambers we make on Earth. We can make some big ones, and gas and oxygen always fill it when they come into contact. If there's no divider or separator, something to separate the gas and oxygen from the vacuum, the gas and oxygen will go into that vacuum. Okay, and it will look just like it's getting sucked in. Okay, and you'll sit there and argue and say, no, the gas and oxygen does it on its own accord and knows there's a vacuum and it rushes in, and it looks like it's getting sucked in, but it's really not. That's just you trying to project your hypnotic state on me. You want me to disregard my senses that God gave me. You do know we have 5 senses that we employ to decide if a situation is to fight or flight, or to just ignore it like they do nowadays. Now you don't have to fight or flight. But we use these senses to stay alive. And I know dang well that my computer's not moving. Okay? And I know the ground I stand on is not moving unless there's an earthquake. I know the ground that I stand on is not up in the sky whizzing around with other stuff up there. Okay? That would be like me saying the ceiling is infinite and goes on forever. Okay? No. The ground of the earth is the floor, and the sky is the ceiling. And the ceiling does not go on further than the dang floor. Okay? These are principles of carpentry. Okay? It's just sad. They know. This guy is saying, well, yeah, people want to know. No, the only people who want to know why you aren't using cameras out there are the people who know you're lying. Because the people who believe in you don't give a damn. They love the animations. Look at her. She's a scumbag. All those people here, they're getting paid thousands of dollars to watch simulations on their computer. Do you think they try to figure out if it's real or not? They do their job, they monitor this or that, and they get paid. And you're not going to tell them. They don't really care. That's probably what, if there was one of them people in there with an IQ over 99, they'd probably say, I don't care. As long as I get paid, I'll do what they want me to do. And that's what they do. The other ones swear to God it's real. You know, they could be in a basement, or they could be on the top floor or top of the plaza, 30, 40, 1,000 miles away from what they think's going on, and they'd still think it was real because they're looking at a screen saying, okay, well, this object's gaining altitude at this rate of speed, blah, 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 blah. And they believe it's actually happening because they're told it's actually happening. And they do blast off rockets, but they don't go up. What did your teacher tell you in school, the quickest way between 2 points? Do you remember? Do you have to Google that? It's a straight line. Okay? And the fastest way from here to there is a straight line. And these people take these rockets and zzz, and go back down. They're not going to outer space. There are so many things that are just so outstandingly asinine. The ground is not spinning faster than a bullet. There's no centrifugal force. You would feel that. You would be thrown around. If it's making the equators bulge, we'd feel it. Why aren't we being thrown to the equator? If the water in the ground of the earth is, why aren't we? We're on it and we're in it. These things aren't happening. Then Apollo sends back pictures of a perfectly shaped spherical, they call it a blue marble, it's so spherically perfect. And then this other idiot, Neil deGrasse Tyson, says, well, it's flattened at the poles and wider at the equator, like a pizza being spun. These people are liars. They change their story just like the way they use the toilet. That's how fast the story changes. First, they destroyed the technology they erased the NASA moon tapes. Google it. Then they accidentally sold them to a NASA intern for $290 and go on to say whoever finds them will be a millionaire. Then the scumbag who looks just like him, Don Pettit, says NASA accidentally destroyed the technology that got us to the moon, and it's a painful process to build back again. This occurred over 50 years ago, and they didn't have a problem achieving it then. So why do astronauts these days say, well, we can't leave low Earth orbit? If we traveled 500,000 miles 6 times, 240,000 to the moon and 240,000 back, rounded off, that's 500,000 miles. Now they Now they're saying they can't leave low Earth orbit because of the what? The Van Allen radiation belts? No, that's code for the firmament. Okay, we never went to the moon. They're waiting for the few more thousand or a couple million to die that believe that nonsense from 1969. And now they're starting over again. They'll say, oh, yeah, well, we're doing building block components. One day we can go visit the moon and Venus and this. And I'm going to try to find it real quick.
I would like to ask how you remember on the station actor Leonard
1 second, let me find it.
Well, that's a great question. The plan that NASA has is to build a rocket called SLS, which is a heavy lift rocket. It's something that is much bigger than what we have today, and it will be able to launch the Orion capsule with humans on board, as well as landers or other components to destinations beyond Earth orbit. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon,
Okay, yeah, hear
we
that.
only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids,
Yeah.
there's a lot of destinations that we could go to.
Scumbag.
And we're building these building block components
Building
in order to allow
block.
us to do that eventually.
Okay, yeah, to do that eventually, to go to the moon and land on asteroids. Are you aware that the company you work for says we went to the moon 6 times starting in 1963? And that they say that the moon is 239,000 miles from the Earth? And that they went 6 times, 230,000 miles there and 230,000 miles back? And you're saying we can't leave low Earth orbit, which is 250 miles above the Earth, whizzing around in the thermosphere? Are these people serious? Most people don't give a damn. They just overlook that. And they believe everything they're told by these liars. How is that logical? That 50 years ago we went to the moon 6 times, and 50 plus years later, NASA is saying we can't go 250 miles high. We can't go beyond that. And we're making building block technology that will allow us to go to the moon and land on asteroids and investigate the solar system. Are you effing kidding me? That's how dumbed down and hypnotized people are. They have no independent logic left in their head. None. The only thing they know is what they instantaneously believe. These people here dictate their reality. Okay? I'm not listening to that garbage. That don't make no sense. If I was that guy, I would have said, wait a minute, didn't we go to the moon 6 times? What, the real technology does not regress. Real technology cannot be destroyed. It can only progress, not regress. This is ridiculous. I'm going to end this here. I'm getting a headache because that's what I get with this nonsense about any shape Earth covered in gas and oxygen that's within, surrounded by, and directly next to an infinite vacuum universe. No, it's not. If it was, there'd be no gas and oxygen on the Earth. It would disperse and be sucked into, and it would flow into the infinite vacuum, just like it does on the Earth with the puny vacuums we make. And gravity. What is gravity? Yeah, go ask them. Google what don't we know about gravity. And Google will tell you the number one answer. However, if we are to be honest, we don't know what gravity is itself in any fundamental way. All they have is alleged effects and results. Look, there it is. It's over here. It's behind the TV. There is no current, field, wave, beam, ray, or particle, or molecules, or graviton of gravity itself. They've never directly detected it, isolated it, or harnessed it, because gravity itself has no presence and substance of itself. Go review Merriam-Webster's definition of presence and substance. Any person, place, or thing must possess presence and substance to be real. Gravity is not real, okay? They just want you to believe you're on a big giant ball, spinning faster than a bullet at the equator, traveling 66,600 miles an hour around the sun every hour, while the sun every hour travels 500,000 miles an hour through the Milky Way, while the Milky Way travels over 1,000,000 miles an hour through the universe. And these are 3 and 4 different motions, and we don't feel a damn thing. Here it is, in case you didn't know, in case you don't understand what you're defending. There's the sun, and there's all the planets chasing after the sun. And that's what you're supposed to believe. That's the heliocentric model. You are on one of those balls in an infinite vacuum universe chasing after the sun. And the sun, it looks like a comet, doesn't it? It's leaving a trail. Do you understand this is what you are supposed to believe? On a clear, sunny day, standing in front of a little pond that's crystal clear, with a little type of insect dancing across the water? Look! Google, how does the earth move? Yeah, I can say vortex. I can also say you're an idiot. Scumbags. This is ridiculous. Google, how does the earth move? Do it on YouTube so you can get the video. Like right there, how does the earth move through space? You people have been systematically dumbed down to instantaneously believe everything that scientism, your teacher, a man or woman in a white lab coat, or a man and a woman sitting at a desk with lots of pretty pieces of paper framed with blue and gold ribbons on them, to believe everything they say. And then the only effort you put in is, after instantaneously believing it, is to memorize it and regurgitate it. And whoever can remember it the best is patted on the back and considered the smartest person in the room, when you're really perfecting ignorance. No logic, no independent character. You don't understand nothing. 90% of you people don't even know what the heliocentric model is, but you'll swear up and down that you live on a big giant ball that's spinning faster than a bullet. You believe the ground that you are standing on is up in the sky that you look at, whizzing around. Wake up! God created the world. You are special. The earth is significant, and the